is how you monitor though. And then in here now, I also like to have like this doesn't, you can listen through here. Actually, we don't even need this open. You can listen through here. Oh, but the volume's going through there right now. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. There's always a latency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god, it sounds so good.
Nice.
Oh my, it sounds like TV.
Okay, perfect.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. It takes a while.
Yeah, it sounds so good. Okay, so then.
And then, so yeah, we're just on USB right now, just so we can
Okay,
play with the
so then
speaker.
click
Yeah,
that, and
mute that, and
record.
then, oh no, you don't need to hit record. So, oh yeah, hit record. Actually, let's just start recording now.
Let's just wait.
Yeah, yeah, you can
Yeah,
just hit
yeah,
start
I can just
recording when it's
yeah when we're
closer
good.
to, yeah, yeah, that's how we do it.
Okay, leave that open.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Nice.
I mean, it's all very complicated, but I understand a lot of that now.
Okay. Yeah, it's like after a while, I did so many live streams when I was with School of Art Gallery,
Yeah.
but I've also been doing like DJ, like Twitch streams for a
Yeah.
really long time. So yeah. Where did this camera come from? That's the coffee?
Yeah, yeah. No, she didn't. She's fixated on what it is to be seen.
Oh, she's really good.
She doesn't mind.
Yes. gosh, I love your.
Yeah.
It's so shiny.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
And we're crows, we love bling.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure this is.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's cool.
The talk doesn't officially start till 1:30.
So we're early. Look
Oh, I
at
thought it was
us.
one.
I set it at 1 because people are usually late.
Okay. Well, could we have a casual conversation about our intentions that isn't on the?
Well, I think everyone's here already, so we can probably start early.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like really it's just the live stream.
Yeah.
So people can tune in later and then watch the video
Great.
afterwards.
If you're okay with that. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that's perfect.
I'm just trying to.
Testing 1, 2, 3. So we have these 3 mics. So these mics are to be passed around. So it doesn't really matter who has what, but you know, if you want to have like an argument, you can. 2 people can have them. So.
But is it like Zoom where you're on, like you go on mute if you're not, if you're holding it, not talking? Like
No,
turn it
no,
usually
they're always on. Make sure you have it close enough to your mouth, because if it's down here, then the people on the live stream won't hear. Everyone here can hear, but yeah, make sure it's close enough to your mouth. And then we'll do a question and answer period. Just so everyone in the audience knows, when there's a question and answer, we're going to put a mic there, so then you come up, and that way people on the live stream can see you. The reason why we do live stream is accessibility, because we're not accessible space, so people need to be able to at least see the talks in some way. So, yeah. Any other questions before we? Okay.
Maybe just say we're gonna try and do question amongst each other and then open it up. So but that doesn't matter to the audience, I don't think. We're good. Don't worry. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I introduce the talk, or should we?
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love
Okay.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
want to do the
Yeah.
moderating?
I'll do all of
I'll
it.
be here as a.
You're the kinship advisor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just walking there to do that right now.
Do you mind passing me one of the mics since I guess I'm starting?
Auntie, look.
Okay, we're just gonna wait for Justin to come back and then we'll get started. Okay. Oh, not for me.
You get to hear the behind the scenes. We're on set, and we're gonna get a applause sign here up here.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just start chatting. So hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Smith. I'm the curator of this show. I am Red River Métis. Just to give you a little bit of history, so my dad's family is Red River Métis, and my mom, who's here in the front row's family, comes from settler descent. Oh, hi, that was loud. Okay. I'm bad at the microphones. So on my dad's side of the family, my dad grew up in St. Vital in a small Métis community, and his mom's from St. Francis Xavier and dad from St. Boniface. And then on my mom's side of the family, her parents had a farm in southern Manitoba that I spent a lot of time on. I think what we're going to do today is each of us is going to take about 5 minutes to talk, and then we'll have a small conversation where each other can ask questions of each other if we want. And then if there's, we'll open it up if there's questions from the audience at that point. But I think we're going to try and focus on keeping sort of a little bit of relational conversation here, because that's a really important part of this exhibition. So the things I want to tell you about the exhibition are, so it's been since about September 2023 that I've been working on this exhibition. I proposed it to Debbie, who is the operations director here at Urban Shaman at the time, and was really grateful to have Debbie hear my proposal and be interested in putting this up. And then from there, I think what I want to acknowledge is in that time, I don't know if the world has changed, but there's been a lot of things that have happened in the world that feel large and pressing and hard. And so the idea of I'll share my medicines, I think I'll start with saying that it really came from not the video that's up on the wall now, but another one of Chanelle's that's called Land Abuse. And there's a line in it where Chanelle is talking about sort of this idea of the world changing and that there might, a need to move on, and what it means to move on and pack up and have to go somewhere. And that she says the line in it, if you don't have enough room for your medicines or to pack your medicines, I'll share mine. And that really inspired me. I think I rewatched that scene the first time I saw the video like 4 or 5 times, just trying to absorb what that meant. And then that really inspired this idea of I'll share my medicines. And Chanelle and I were in a mentorship project together at the time, or slightly before it, and began discussing what it meant for other artists to be medicine to us. And that's how this group of artists have come together. And then through that process, we ended up having a lot of input from really important people in our lives. So some of them have work present in the exhibition, some of them don't. And that's a little bit unusual. Most exhibitions you don't get to say, I want to bring my sister's dolls into the exhibition, or my niece's beading, or there's a piece I made with my dad, or, it's really important that the person who took my photographs is represented well, even though it was my vision. I was really grateful to have Johnston say, why don't we put up this vinyl of my scanned medicines? And so we came up with this title, acknowledging that the 5 artists and myself, part of the exhibition, had been building a relationship, but that there were so many people contributing that we had these kinship advisors. And so they've become part of the exhibition in a really important way that holds a special place of these people holding us and taking care of us as we were preparing for this exhibition. Well, in many cases, contributing artwork physically as well. And I think that for me, the other things I really want to bring up are that as the world has changed over the time of since September of 2023, with things happening, the genocide happening in Gaza, the escalation of climate change, it's hard to sometimes even on a day-to-day basis understand what is happening in the US and how things are changing so rapidly, and you can see people being harmed by a government that is making decisions that is not centered in people, what it means to come together as people and want to understand what it means to be healing for each other and to care for each other and to be committed. And so we set intentions before this talk, and my intention is that, and we don't all have to say it after, say it how you want if you want, but I'll just say my intention. So for my intention is that I hope the space is welcoming to people, that it holds them in a place of love, but also maybe helps people think about what it means to leave this space and be medicine for other people. And I think I just wanted to say one more thing. So I was on a work road trip last week to Saskatoon, and I drove through Regina to pick up Holly's artwork on the way back, and I got to see an exhibition of my friend Wes Harmon, who is a really amazing artist, number one, but a fierce activist and community supporter. And I grabbed this poster of theirs that I'm going to put out on the gifting table, which I'll maybe explain at the end, but it says, "The way through is together." And it just really, I spent a lot of time thinking about it. And what I love about this poster is all of the faces on it have bubbles for all of us to write something in that says what that means and the ways that we want to get through it together. So it was also nice to have a moment at another exhibition at a community-led space, so Neutral Ground Artist Run Center in Regina, where these conversations are happening in different ways. They're not directly about medicine or traditional ways of being, but they're about community and helping each other. And so through the hardships and the difficult things that are happening in the world, I think that the resistance to that and the hope of being together and doing beautiful things for each other is really present. And that's really, I'm gonna cry. That's really what all of the artists have brought to the show. Like it's amazing the ways that each of them have brought medicine for me, for each other, and have really spent time working from a center of care. Okay, I'm gonna pass it on. So I think maybe what we could do is just go around if everyone's okay with that. And so right now at the table we have a mixture of artists and kinship advisors, which is really exciting. And so obviously the kinship advisors are artists. I don't want to take that title away from them. But the reason that we created that special title is because the 5 artists and myself had been building this relationship together, and then we each pulled in people individually that we needed, and now we all get to, maybe not all, but mostly get to be together, which is really special, so that we wanted to make sure that everyone that was a support system that could be here would have a voice. So I don't know, Asia, do you want to go next?
Maybe we can go that way. If that's okay with you. That's fine.
And just to confirm, I'm naming the intention. We're starting with that.
You can. You don't have to.
Okay.
Say whatever you want.
Is this volume okay? Yeah. Great. So yeah, we were in the back previously while you were all hanging out and waiting for us. And I'll elaborate later on as we kind of develop our discussion, but essentially we had the opportunity to set intentions that we wished to be able to share here at the table and here in the room more broadly. And for myself, the one that I had named, and not for others to necessarily have to practice, but as an offering for others, but something that I will be practicing, is balancing my privacy with truth, and also like balancing my privacy with maintaining vulnerability. And maybe I've just been reading a lot and I'm like sour over the word vulnerability, pardon me, but just, yeah, the idea that I can still be honest without having to say everything right now. And so if you find that I'm being vague, or if you find that, pardon me, I'm not really saying anything, tant pis. It's for good reason, and also I think that that's a kind of medicine for me right now, is just figuring things out before I say things out loud. So I thank you in advance for your kind of patience and kindness and understanding. And don't fill in the blanks. Yeah. So thank you. And Tansi Kiawao, Chanelle Dishkinashon. That's funny because I know who I am in my head. So yeah, my name is Chanelle Lajoie. I am from here. My parental grandfather is Red River Michif from St. Anne. My parental grandmother is Swampy Cree from Muskeg. My mother, TBD, French, Michif, doesn't identify with anything other than a lover of winners. So, but I just moved back here to Winnipeg with my partner a year ago, just shy of a year ago. We were living in Montreal, where I was pursuing some studies out there, and it'll all tie together. It's kind of like, do I say everything now or do I say everything later? So this vagueness is not on purpose, but just to leave some wanting. So yeah, I just moved back about a year ago after being away for 3 years. And with that, I think this theme of sharing medicines and being together at a table feels very like an exhale, a very nice exhale after what feels like tensing your muscles for a very long time, and a continuation of tensing my own muscles after receiving some devastating news for myself, which I'll elaborate on later. So that's who I am. I look forward to sharing more with everyone else and also discussing the things on the floor with you all afterwards. Not what I just said.
Tanse kakiel, Lynette La Fontaine nitsegasan egwa Moskwa mustus kisago kasko nitsegasan tastawino nia abtakosasan nia. My spirit name roughly translates as Bear Buffalo Northern Lights Woman, but I am two-spirit, I am non-binary, and my pronouns are they, them. I'm Métis from my late dad, Richard La Fontaine, who was born in Big River, Saskatchewan. And there was quite a large movement of Métis from northern Saskatchewan to central BC for the forest industry. So that's where I was born and raised. My parents met at a bush camp. My mom's name is Lietta, and she is mostly of French and Irish descent. But my family grew up very much in relation to one another, which I really appreciate. And I don't know if that's the Irish or French roots. So I grew up hunting, fishing, harvesting, like growing up really, really rural. And I'm a parent to 2 adulting kids. My oldest just turned 26 and my daughter's 24. I participate in ceremony for my own healing journey. My art is all about my healing journey, I think. But my mom is also a full-time artist, and I took a very long route to get to where I'm at today. I worked 9 years in a sawmill. It was the highest paid job in a really small town in central BC. Then I went to nursing school, and because coming from a really small place with no internet, because Gen X over here, my artist teacher told me, like, you won't make it because you're from a small place. And I just kind of put that dream to sleep. But as soon as I got my hands on beads, when I was in nursing school, something woke up in me, and I couldn't stop dreaming. I really feel like the ancestors were like downloading designs and language, and I'd be in like meetings and I'd be like dreaming of my next beading project. So then somebody introduced the idea of mentorship, because actually just this year I paid off my student loans from 2009. Yeah, heck yeah. It was a long journey as a single parent, and but there's a really good funding opportunities in BC, and so I started to build relationship. All this work is about relationship. Every single aspect, with the materials, with the land, with the waters, with the living materials that we use. So it's all ceremony, right? Caring for those things in my home, caring for myself of body, mind, and spirit. So like my intention, I think, is really about that. It feels like ceremony in this space, and I really see this, where the space we're sitting at right now is Val's space and your family, because we all are a bundle, right? Like we carry these people with us, past, present, and future. And this is, if you've ever been in a sweat lodge, there's a rock that's put right in the center first, right? It's for Creator, yourself, and Mother Earth. And then we're like all the 4 directions around Val. And that just has felt really special. But we're all speaking to one another. Like, we're all interconnected. So it's been a beautiful journey, Jen. Like, thank you so much for this opportunity. I knew Claire somewhat before. Holly's my cousin from northern Saskatchewan. Chanelle I hadn't met before. But so to build relationship, and Jen, I met you in 2020. And I just think about the years and years, really. And already, when you said 2023, like, you proposed this exhibition. And that's what I feel like in my art practice. It takes years, right? Like, to get good at beading, to work with porcupine quills, to work with caribou hair, to work with the furs, to work with whitefish scales, like, years and years, and I'll never stop learning, and I love that part of being an artist that's grounded in Métis culture. Ekose, so I'll say for now, all my relations.
Okay, here, I think I need to adjust my position so that people can see me here. I'll come in, wait, here. Here you go. That's okay. Come in here. Can you see me? Yeah, okay. Tanashi, I'm Justin Bear-Ledive. I'm the artistic director here at Urban Shaman. My family's from my mom's side is from Peguis First Nation, and we're Scottish, Cree, and German. Hi, Mom. That's my mom. And my dad's side is Red River Métis, and we're from St. Boniface and southern Manitoba area. I just want to thank everyone for showing up today for the talk, and you know, it's a nice day. I mean, it was a little chilly this morning, but it's an effort to come out, like, and it makes it's a big deal that everyone's here today, and it feels really special to be welcoming you all into Urban Shaman. It feels a lot like we're at home right now, and I think Val's living room kitchen combo really speaks to that. And we actually had to strip out the drywall from Val's living room and set it up in here. So we like took the whole piece, everything was attached, and just kidding. Yeah, so it was really great working on this project. I also know, like, most of the people at this table. I only just recently met Giselle, who made these amazing dolls, and they've also been helping out with the install, climbing up the wire, putting up things. It's really helpful to have a whole team for the install. So yeah, and I've known quite a few people at this table for like a long time. I've known Val for, I feel like, a decade now. We originally met at Nietzsche Commons, I think, and Val was a really big inspiration for me, seeing someone who was like part of this collective, the Sewers Collective, and, you know, doing arts facilitation. And at the time too, I also met Lynette La Fontaine, who was doing arts facilitation at Nadinaway. And, you know, you were some of the first people that I realized, like, art can be like my life. Like, I can do this as a regular job. And that was really exciting. So I don't think without Val, like, I would be sitting here today. Like, so it means a lot that, you know, you're such a supportive person. And, yeah, it feels good to be at your table. So, yeah. And yeah, and like, you know, oh, my phone's ringing. Okay. I should probably turn that off before who is it? It's my buzzer. Who wants to get into my place? Yeah, and then, like, I've worked with other people closely, like Chanelle and I worked together years ago not that long ago at Oshkosh. And I think a lot of us have had, like, some really good shared experiences. So to be a part of this show in this space, to be the artistic director here, it felt so familiar. And I think this is a big direction that I want these shows to go in, is for them to feel home, to feel like welcome. And someone said, like, you know, they felt so comfortable being here at the opening. And that's exactly what I want Urban Shaman to feel like. It's like, it's a place you can come you can hang out, you can relax. Like, we put that circle table in the back, and I want people to feel like they can, it's like kind of coming over to a cousin's house or granny's house or whatever, and you can take a nap. We don't have a place to nap. So, but anyways, I want to thank you, Jennifer, for putting this all together and like setting the intentions for this show, and all the hard work that everyone did to get this work up, to get it made in the first place. And you can tell your heart is in it, and it's alive. The work is alive. So, yeah, thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Giselle. I'm from Ontario. I was born and raised here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And my family is quite large, and we've got about every nationality that you can think. So this was part of my beginning of making these dolls, was to represent my family. And because we are multicultural, I've got all of our family included, right? So that's where I started from. And I found coming here just in the short time that I've been here and listening to the ideas and listening to the ideas of the workshops that are going to be coming. I think they're awesome. I just want to stay longer so I can be part of them, but I have to go back. But yeah, it's been a wonderful experience being here and being a part of this and seeing my family, of course. Now I'm going to cry and meeting all you guys. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Holly Aubichon. I was born and raised in Regina, Saskatchewan. My work is in the corner of the belt and the moccasins. And I, a year ago, May 2024, we had the artists in this group had gathered in Winnipeg, and that was kind of our initial intention setting on what medicine sharing meant and if we even wanted to do it. And so that time was like really the beginning of what set this year until this point of what I'm doing, what I'm beating, what I'm preparing for. And so that intention was like, I'm marking a transition of my life from a job that I loved but also burnt out from. And so I came prepared with tissues, but I kind of took all of them. Everywhere I go, there's tissue boxes. So. I want to speak clearly. Just give me a second. Yeah. Yeah, so this time of trying to recover, your energy was really challenging, and so coming here and everybody having their own aspects of needing that too was really like sets intentions to why we're gathering or why we're relational in this way or how we should be. And so I really thought about what that meant of like, what medicines do I bring? What do I know? And praying and tobacco, a prayer for what that means. And so I also grew up urban and have a lot of those urban influences, and I love to be cheeky and I love to be humorous. And so with all of that and getting to know each other and the things we laugh about and the ways that we connect, they're reflected on my belt. And yeah, that was my intention. And I've traveled to Winnipeg probably like for 12 years annually, multiple times a year, just for fun and giggles, and been here plenty of times. And I even did a road trip to Winnipeg and back to Regina in a day. So I love this place, and thinking about being invited to this space and with the intention of a year to come back with something. Yeah. that was really meaningful to me. So those are my intentions coming here, and yeah, the outcome and what you do when you just go and do the things and prepare what you need. Like, that's where the medicine is beyond what we know, is also like what we're making and bringing together for new medicines. And yeah, I really feel that. Yeah, I'll move on.
Thanks, Holly. I am Claire Johnston. I'm Red River Métis through my dad's side, paternally through my grandfather, Herbert Edward Johnston. And I'm Swedish and Scottish and English settler as well, on my mom's side and through my dad's mother. I am from here, from Winnipeg, born and raised here. And yeah, I don't know what when we're going to share, I typically, I don't like to prepare much, and yeah, just trust in what I need to say will come. It was a really beautiful experience, being with our group, not necessarily creating these works in the physical space together, but knowing that all of us were each working towards this, and that we were experiencing ebbs and flows in our own lives leading up to this exhibition. The pieces that I created for this show, I know that, as you're preparing, as an artist, as you're preparing for a show, often people will share how, even last week, people asking, "Oh, aren't you, like, you must be so stressed. You must be," but I didn't place that on myself for this show. And I feel like with Jennifer's direction and the way that we started preparing for this show was by us just gathering and visiting, visioning, and not even like specifics about what we were going to create much, but just started that process through visiting and the ways we wanted to feel together. And so I didn't feel this major stress or push in creating for this show. It just came so naturally in the time that it needed to, which also included contributions from my family. So a piece here, like I really like slowness. I need to be slower in the world. A lot of the difficulties I experience in the world is because I feel that the world is a pace that doesn't align with my physical body or my mind. And my dad is a reminder of that even more for me, that I can't force my dad to be quicker, and I shouldn't. And so the wooden piece we had there, it was a collaboration between my dad and I, and my dad doing the bulk of the work. We fell the tree together, and to take down one tree, we did it. We took the entire day to take down one tree, and this piece of woodwork, started well over a year ago now, and the detail and slowness that my father has, it just reminds me that it's okay for me to go at my own pace, and that when I don't, I can't create something that's beautiful and from my spirit. The pieces that are here, they're with family in mind, family who have been medicine for me. Some of that's chosen family, some of that's blood family. But yeah, even my stepson helped with the piece there. I was gonna show a picture of, I'm probably already over 5 minutes, but I'll just, I think about my my dad's one of my biggest teachers. I talk about him a lot. It's probably annoying to other people, but and since I was little, my dad's always really seen me, and if I wanted to know something or I wanted to make something, he's always taken the time and seen that as a really important thing. You know, like no matter if I'm really tiny, like it's okay. He still would acknowledge me. So you know, now I have a partner and I have a stepson who's 6, and you know, I remember those times when I was 6 years old and wanting to work with my dad, and now my stepson is also, you know, engaging and collecting wood and creating woodwork with my dad as well. So I just wanted to show a picture of that. Just this winter, there's my partner Fred there stripping a log, and I was just visiting, and it's a beautiful, meaningful process for me to engage in the type of teaching that my dad did with me, and to be able to share that with a young person. So in addition to my dad and I working on that piece over there, my stepson Kona also helped polish the piece with me. And his little spirit and how he contributes is medicine for me too. So yeah, that's all I'll share. It's probably way over 5 minutes, but mercy.
Hi, my name is Val. My spirit name is Rainbow Horsewoman, and my pronouns are Deadly Auntie. And I'm, you know, getting more deadly aunties, because if we want to make the world better, we need deadly aunties to stand up and take charge. Okay? I'm just going to tell one little story that just came back to me. Okay. So my son has this great garage, and it's got a heater in it. Well, the heater broke down, so he called somebody to come and fix it. So this man came in, and he had an assistant, and the assistant was a native guy who didn't say a word, except when he saw the pile of sage in my son's garage, because I grow some wicked sage. So my son had this great big bundle of sage, and the guy said, like, that's a lot of sage. And my son said, do you want some? And the guy went, what do you mean? He said, well, we're supposed to share them, aren't we? Then the guy talked the rest of the time. But because when you share like that, it's an invitation, it's a welcoming, it's an accepting of, maybe you don't look like me, but you're my relative, and we need to look after each other, wherever we come from, whoever we are. But by the way, I am Red River Métis, and this is my territory, so don't tell me what to do on my land, or I'll show you what Deadly Auntie means. Okay? Thank you. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Auntie. Holy, how do I follow that? Aning buju wake gijigo kwen dijne kaja de dodam. So my Anishinaabe name is like the horizon, and then everything above that, the spirit of that being is what my spirit name represents. On my mom's side, I'm Anishinaabe, and we come from Penimutang First Nation. And on my Deadly Auntie Val side, and my Deadly Auntie Gigi side, we're Red River Métis. And I always share that, like, she's like my actual auntie. So we share, these are my actual aunties, so we share the same blood. And I'm super proud of that, you know, to have that blood memory that they share with me. And when we were talking about intentions earlier, and I shared that my intention was to like, this is my first art show and my first time having artwork like on, like, as an exhibit. So I have some beadwork on the other side of this family wall that we took from Auntie Val's house. But what my intentions is to learn, right? And to build relationships and to to be here with my aunties and my family. And now I feel like I've gained another family, and I'm just super grateful. And then as I thought about that question more, like what is my intention for this? I feel like one of my ancestors came and said intergenerational healing. Now I'm gonna cry. And that's what this means to me, is the having such beautiful inspirations and having such strong, deadly aunties to guide me and to show me who I am and who I'm becoming, and to help me figure that out. You know, and to make these changes in my life and for my family. And my 2 boys are here. My oldest sons are here. Put your hand up. Shout out to those are my oldest sons, Seth and Xavier, and they are some deadly, deadly boys. And I'm super, super proud that they're here. And to that, when I thought of them being here and you know, just being a part of this, to me, that's intergenerational healing. I always say, you know, when I started to discover who I am as Anishinaabe, as Métis, as an Indigenous person, and when I learned the history of my people, I decided that, okay, now it makes sense, that intergenerational trauma. But now I've made that decision to make a change and start intergenerational healing, and that's what I've done. And this is where it's taken me. And so now my family, there's so many changes in my family, intergenerational changes and intergenerational healing. And that's what this means to me, being here at this table, being welcomed and included. It just means so much to me. So I'll share that. But yeah, intergenerational healing. And I'm just super grateful for everyone at this table. Yes, lateral kindness. That's definitely something that we practice in our circle. It's so important to have lateral kindness. And there's times when I experience things that were not lateral kindness, and it made me even more mindful of being kind to everybody. So that's what this exhibition means for me, is lateral kindness and intergenerational healing. So I just want to say miigwech to everybody for all your gifts and for welcoming me into this space, and my children and my family. And like, I have the deadliest aunties, so I'm just super grateful for that. So miigwech.
Okay, so there's a couple things I think I just want to say after all of that. So the one thing we haven't really officially ever introduced the exhibition as is that everyone that's part of it is Métis. I haven't said it a lot, and I think that pardon?
When I sent out to people I know, I put all Métis art.
Okay. And I mean, and I think that it's an important thing for us to talk about too, and I think the idea of traditional ways, spiritual ways of moving through the world are often talked about in very straightforward ways of being Métis. So, you know, I'm not going to name names, but probably most of us in the room know that there's like leadership in Métis community that talks about Métis people only being Catholic. And just to also acknowledge that there's so many multiple ways of being Métis, and that, I mean, all of that is here. Like, it's not just one way. It's not just a religious way of being. It's not, you know, we have English and Michif on the wall, but also to acknowledge, like, there's multiple languages that we all use. Michif isn't even just one way of speaking. There's multiple dialects of our language. And so I think I just want to really put out also the beauty and the medicines of our multitudes, that like we all come from this same heritage, but that There's no proper way of being it, which also means we can be rowdy. We can, give a little punch if we're, which Holly's talked about, if we're feeling a little bit, whatever, feisty, annoyed, whatever it is. We don't follow rules well, which I think we really found out during this exhibition, that we like to push the rules, which is great. And that also we do really love fiercely as a people. So I think that I'm saying these things, I'm sure there's many other things people would say about Métis people, but these are just a few things to really acknowledge that there isn't one way of being. When you look at that, we all come from the same culture, but we're all offering different things, but can still be really in relation with each other. And it does come back to this idea of being in something together, even when you're not all, exactly the same, because that doesn't help us move forward. I have no idea how long we've been here, so we have a bit of time. Okay, we got lots of time. So what I think I would like to open up is two things now. I think we'll start with, is there anyone at the table that feels they didn't get to, that something new came to mind, or something you didn't get to say that you've been holding on to since you passed the mic away? We were just saying whatever we wanted to say. I really think that's what this is about today. Perfect, yeah. Do you have more to say?
Not first.
Oh. Yeah, okay. So both Lynette and Justin put up their hand as having something to say after.
We're going to sing a song together. Just kidding. You go first. Hello? Okay. Just making sure the volume's okay on this. So, I just want to thank Jennifer for having my work in the show too. I think that's felt really special to have this piece be a part of it. And those medicines, they're all gone now. They're in my belly. But yeah, they are important, and having that special relationship with them. A lot of those actually are from North Point Douglas. And I picked them for a workshop years ago. And it was called Sacred Streets. And the idea was that, these medicines want to help us. The medicines are alive. They're spirits, they have consciousness, and they want to help us. They have gifts, just like we all have gifts, right? And just like how when we see someone struggling, we reach out, right? And the plants are the same, and they grow everywhere, all around us. And so it felt really good to have these medicines be a part of this, because it was just another reminder for myself, it's always accessible. The medicines from the earth are always accessible, even if you can just look down and they're there, and that was one thing I wanted to show with Sacred Streets was, sometimes I feel like there's barriers to getting medicines, and people do have very real barriers. But sometimes those barriers aren't necessarily like having a car to go out and get sweetgrass. It could just be the stuff that's happening in your life, but if you can get over that hump, they're right there. They're at your feet. And and so that was a reminder for me. So from the land, but also the medicine is around in your family and your friends, and the people who care for you, right? And it really felt like that with this show. I got a lot of help, installing. Got a lot of emotional help from my partner, Katie, from my family, from my parents. Yeah, so I'm very thankful that I got to put this piece in and contribute like a piece of art as well to the show. So thank you.
You're reminding me of, is this working? I can use a different mic. Oh, yeah. Nisto wants to be used here, number 3. It reminds me of this time of year, like you're sharing, like I really feel like I'm bringing in some, can you hear this one either? Can you hear it? No. Okay. This one works though. It reminds me of this time of year. This is our traditional New Year, Mioskamen. This is spring. This is when Bear wakes up, and I really feel like I'm bringing in bear medicine today. Muskwa is first part of my spirit name, but also bears really like helped carry the load for me. I've been doing a lot of artwork, just giving gratitude to Bear and those teachings, and it's reminding me of my oldest wanted to get their spirit name, and we had to drive from Vancouver Island all the way up to Saddle Lake. And I like to gather medicines as I go along. In the spring, I'm really connected. Like I'm still building relationship on Vancouver Island to the lands, to the waters, to the medicines. But there are some areas where I have that relationship, and the plants actually like present themselves to me. So we're driving along, and I'm really excited to see all these spring medicines. And I think Shem was just getting frustrated. I didn't take the time to explain what that meant to be gathering medicines as we went, because I would be either cooking the spring foods or bartering these medicines for medicines that we don't have in BC that we use for our smudge. And they didn't want to stop. So later that evening, and then I had gathered some more medicines in the Jasper area with another friend. And we both had an issue with each other. But what I love about that intergenerational healing is that ability, like how far we've come. So like Shem actually brought it forward. Said like, can I talk to you about something? And they're like, I didn't like when you said that I was being like grandpa. Like that's my dad, right? And because my dad would never stop when we were driving for anything. Right? And we did our tea in Bannock Runs to Saskatchewan. So I explained of like gathering all this medicine that we were going to be bringing, not just like physical, like not just the medicine of the plants and the land, but also the people we were visiting along the way. And so that really made a difference for Shem. But so your story of like the plants are just right there. There are some plants we can only harvest in certain areas. And that idea of that we miss them, but they also miss us. I wanted to share a little bit about my work, but it always feels a little weird. It is very personal. So this work here is about water, but there's a beautiful Michif word bundle that I was taught by Lydia Turenberg, who was taught by Jack Pelland, and it's Sikam Dilu. We're like water. We're fluid as Métis Two-Spirit people, well as I. And so when I thought about water, I thought about how when you cup it, it's clear in your hands. And this is why I've used all clear beads, except for some silver, to embody the sun and the moon shining on the water. But I've really been holding this vision, or maybe it was the beadwork that told me, like, it needs to be in the water. It needs to go to the water. And I wanted to really, it was a magical moment that I got to do with another artist and friend, Yarrow, who helped with the photography, because you can't do everything with your iPhone, right? So, but that moment of introducing my water beadwork that I had spent so many months, actually years now, and I'm still going to be building this work, thinking about the water, praying for the water. I often go to the water and offer my tobacco and give thanks. It was a magical moment of placing that beadwork in the water and connecting the two. So this work means so much to me personally, but this is work I want to gift back to the community in the sense of like, how are we as Two-Spirit people wearing who we are and the medicines we carry? And also, how are we also protecting ourselves as we walk in the world and one another? Because I don't wear a skirt anymore, I don't wear a dress anymore, and I really was like, how do I want to show up in our cultural spaces that feels good for me? And then I've also been experimenting like with all the different colors of material that we can get and how there's different colors of water, right? So that's really what my work is embodying. And teaching is like when we're having a hard time, we go to the water and we offer our tobacco and we let the water take it away, to where it won't hurt anybody. But that's what I wanted to share. All my relations. Did you want to talk now?
One aspect of the show, I think, collectively, but also specifically to me, in thinking about the show and my work, is gifting as a teaching and a medicine, and also a necessity, and kind of just pulling back to what I was speaking earlier in burnout and looking at like, what do I do? And I'm sitting here in this coat I just made that's my grandma's quilt, looking at all these beautiful materials I have been gifted. And from that May trip, specifically Claire gifting me like dozens of antique beads, like dozens, which I have some bead knowledge and spending time in archives and collections where, you know, I'm ogling with the other knowledgeable people in there about it. And so having that year time to also make or prepare medicines with some of the like premium material, or like, you know, you only get that if you have a lot of money or you're gifting it, you know, like it's not in what I expected. And a few other things, like experiences, like the smoked moose hide. I only had like, I don't know, 7 inches or whatever the size of my knife essentially was, so it was perfect. But looking at all the materials and knowing that you should use them, and you don't need to be a master to use them yet, or be so precious because it's part of the journey and the connection of, just learning. And even further, I just wanted to speak a little bit to like the belt component that has those kind of like cross shapes on it, because that's not my beadwork. It was a belt that was gifted to my best friend's grandma when she was living in northern Sask, which is where my family's from, the Green Lake area. But my friend's grandma was living near La Ronge and Besnard Lake. Her name was Damaris, and she had been beading and selling and gifting these objects. So now that my friend's grandma is getting older and is starting to part ways with some of her things, a lot of it's coming to me. And I have Damaris's moccasins, as well as this belt and a necklace. And so I just want to speak to that, like gifting in that time of having these pieces, even if they're not necessarily my familial, like grandmother's works or relatives' works, to have it, to study it, to know, you know, how it's made, and also the nerdiness about the beads and its age and the, you know, damage that kind of takes over time, everything. At first I thought it was kind of maybe controversial to display someone else's beadwork alongside mine, but in thinking about this gift exchanging down, or purchase, I'm not entirely sure, I guess, like would have been purchased in the probably 50s, or gifted at that time, to have it go to a 3 generations of people, non-Indigenous, through this gifting or purchasing, and then back to an Indigenous person who's from the area, like of, you know, canoeable distance. So it just was sitting on my shelf for so long that I was like, I gotta add this. But that process too of gifting and what that meant, like I had to stitch between every stitch of hers and watch where she went up and tacked down her beads, because it's like really old cotton thread in the back, and the cotton textile is all distorted or like disintegrated kind of. And so that 2-week process of like just going through between her beads, like I know how she made that belt. just from that process, as well as like the ways you cut corners or like the problems that happen when you cut corners. Like you should look at Claire's wall pocket and just think about all the steps and layers it took to hide all of Claire's stitches. Like I'm looking at this grandmother work and I'm like that effort. And I'm not saying trying to be critical of that. It's just all those little ways that you don't necessarily, I think, see the medicine or know the power of the gift or the, until you use it or you go do it or whatever that in reference works. But yeah, so and then the moccasins are also a gift, and I just like to leave that to say when you read titles, like some things are named for people, and that aspect of gifting, like these things aren't going to be ours forever either, or like there's people waiting to get their gifts. And some of them have waited like a year, so there's like that continual medicine of what happens next. Or if you get to see people one day, wearing Lynette's your Two-Spirit regalia kind of setup or designs that, I think this feels like that moment of like continual medicine sharing with all those aspects of how we've come to these materials and what we're setting our intention with once they've been organized. Yeah.
Hello. And yeah, so just taking the time to perhaps discuss the work that I'm sharing or I've been invited to share as part of the show. I think it's important to say that the work that I create as part of moving image, specifically in shorts, is very uncomplicated in that I use my iPhone or I use a camera that I had acquired. I don't go out and buy more things because essentially what I'm looking to share is a message, which I often do via voice note now, so even less complicated. However, I didn't create anything new for the show, and I think that's really what I want to talk about, is that we hear a lot about the gatherings that were happening and how we're gathering now. This is really the first one that I am able to participate in. So I'd mentioned in brief that I was away in Montreal, so I was away studying. I would get to join over Zoom. All of this are things like that I was balancing. So I was studying law at McGill, so I was away for that. If you know anyone who's studied law, if you know anyone who's a lawyer, my regrets. You are taken away from like your friends, you are taken away from your family. I moved away, and I don't say this as a woe is me, but I chose that. And I'm currently articling, and I'm very well supported in my articles. My articles are like the silver lining of what law school was. But what I'm trying to emphasize is that your time is not yours anymore, or my time was not mine. I experienced the stress that I had never experienced in my life. I was like losing hair before I even started law school. My body was responding in ways that were just not what I would have anticipated and what I would not wish on anyone. And so what I mean to say as part of this is that I didn't have the time to participate, and that was devastating for me. I think in one of our last conversations that was virtual, something I had said was, oh, and I can't wait until next week because I'll start to feel like myself again. I would write what's known as like the bar exam. It's a little different here, but anyhow, I'm not here to preach law. So that week would follow, and I was just like, oh, I can't wait to exist again. Like, I can't wait to feel like myself. Every day starting to feel a little bit better. I'm feeling like I can breathe again. Oh, I think I can kind of resurface because I've been here since May. I've maybe told 3 people because I'm like, let's just get through the year. So I would write my bar exam. It's a week long here. It's from Monday to Thursday. On Thursday, 3 p.m., it's over. It's very anticlimactic, as most exams are or other experiences. But for myself, I was like, oh, and that's it. Maybe I'll go for a walk now. I didn't go for a walk. I went to go pick up my farm eggs about 30 minutes away. Came back. I was super excited. And then I got a call when I finally parked, and I received a devastating health diagnosis. And I thought, you gotta be kidding me. So immediately I told people that needed to know. So Jen was one of them, as Jen had mentioned. We built a relationship in a mentorship in 2020. And part of what I had disclosed to Jen was that, something had happened. I need to take time to myself. Because during my time away, none of that was time for me. It's only been a month since I received this diagnosis. The frustrating part is I can't even say I'm sick. It's just a waiting period. So I'm really grateful to be able to be here now. And I still feel frustrated because even in being here now, I'm not actually here. So that's devastating. But I'm like, great. I think I have one. Yeah, Holly wasn't kidding. There's a Kleenex shortage. But I snagged one. Yeah, so without saying too much and wanting to also include you in what's happening, and sometimes I don't even have the words, but essentially I try to talk about what's happening, even though it's only been 1 month, because I think it takes away the power. But actually, there's just the thing that has power is the waiting. So I'm just kind of waiting. But I'm really grateful to be sitting here now with everyone and to be part of this conversation, and also just incredibly frustrated that, I had waited a year to be able to come and finally join my friends who are in these videos, to be back home, to be amongst friends and family. So I waited the 3 years, and then I waited the articling year, and then 2 hours after the point that was the grand finale of the waiting, life said, nope, not yet. So I'm thinking of this as just time to care for myself. So it's nice to be able to sit here. You might just find me sitting in the back. So I think the work coupled with what it is I just expressed is kind of, they're tugging at each other to do what you need to do when you need to do it, and to not allow really anything to steer you away from what is important, which I'll admit is challenging because attending my studies was important for me. It was the first time I had moved away. It was a way for me to take care of my siblings once that finished. Also, Indigenous people are not allowed to be lawyers, so that's another piece that is important for me, is occupying space. And then time and tragedy is comedy, so I'm still waiting for all of that. But and so I'm so grateful for Jen, who I've built this relationship with, because it was a no questions asked. It was a what can I do for you? And so that for me is very much medicine. And it's the things you can see and the things you can't see, but just the patience, and also the command from myself to say to people, I'm not doing anything anymore. So I'm not on any more boards. I really slowed down in my articles. I really slowed down in anything else I was doing. Friends are now coming to me, which is wonderful, but I'm then telling people I'm home. So it was a really important shift, and I think the medicine for me was just, I use my voice in a very specific way, and this time it was for myself. And I think that's also a type of medicine that I'm exercising. And it's all very new, and it's all very overwhelming. So I'm grateful to be able to share that with you all present, and with the table. And I look forward to more time passing to get more answers, and thank you. And who wants this?
I think I'm just gonna say one thing about Chanelle. I am, just because through MAWA, Mentoring Artists for Women's Art, Chanelle was my mentee, and it was over 2020 to 2021. very, weird time because we couldn't always be in person. We met in my backyard quite often, and I luckily had bought a house that year, so we could. But one of the things that basically within the first, weeks of us working together through that, there was like a connection through the artwork. So I think coming back to artwork as medicine, that I felt with Chanelle and that we built really quickly. And we always joked that we were stuck with each other for life after that. But it's not a stuck, like it's a willingness of also like commitment. And I think that as this group, like I see us committing to each other, committing like physically, emotionally, understanding like what our needs are, trying to give space for what each of us need individually, trying to acknowledge when we maybe need to step up for each other. And even though we haven't been present physically, because not all of us are here in Winnipeg all the time, I can see that everyone's done that for each other at some point throughout this process. I think I wanted to acknowledge like that idea of community also, that you're committing to something with it, and that you're making, I don't know, I'm not married. I have a partner that I think I will be with for the rest of my life. I hope I will be, but I also I also hope that I get to commit in ways to other people throughout the rest of my life, and like a commitment to the people here at this table that we, will be here for each other as we need. And again, coming back to this idea of it being medicine for each other. I don't know. I'm kind of wondering, like I'm going to look at my phone for time. So we've been about an hour and a half, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe we, instead of doing like physical Q&A, that we wrap up like the formal part of this discussion, unless I also don't want to stop anyone else from saying anything else. So I'm not, if anyone else wants to say something, that space is here, but that we,
maybe we should, if we do a couple, we might do the live stream one.
Okay.
Because then those people can't be here to answer.
Of course, that's a good idea. So,
Hello.
okay, so the way we'll just process this is, first of all, if anyone else at the table has something else to say, you're more than welcome to. We're not closing you off to that. Second of all, then if there's anyone who has questions through the live stream, we can try answering those. And then the rest, I think, is an invite to visit. So we're here in this space, and Métis visiting is a beautiful tradition that we all practice, and so we invite you into that with us. The last thing, this is going to be the last thing I say. So the last thing I want to just also talk about is gifts that we want to share or that others want to share. So we had decided to create this offerings table, which you see as soon as you walk in. And we ask that each of you take something from the table as you leave. So everyone who comes to the exhibition should leave with a gift. If you have something you want to leave, you're welcome to. If you don't have to. Everyone deserves a gift. So take a look. If you want to learn anything about stuff on the table, you can ask us as we're visiting afterwards. But it's important to us that everyone has that little bit of thing that they can take with them. Hopefully think about this exhibition or one of us as you think about it later, but also know that someone you don't know intentionally left that there for you, whether it was someone here or someone that was at the opening on Friday night. A lot of people came and left things on the table Friday night at the opening. So they may not know you, but they thought of you when they left that. Okay, does anyone want to hear? I feel like I don't want to rush anyone else.
Thanks. I'm just going to talk about the medicine. So there's a little cup with some little plastic bags in it. There's some spoons to take your medicine out of the container. There's also labels and some pens where you can write what that medicine is in that little bag. There's also bear grease, and you know that's gold in Nishi country. Don't take it all. Leave some for others as well, because we want it, and it goes an incredibly long way. But please take some medicines. That's what this is all about. And enjoy them, and remember to share your medicines with others. And it doesn't have to be a physical medicine, but sharing your caring and your love is the best medicine for anybody. Okay? Miigwech.
Anyone else have a final? No? Okay. Are you good, Claire? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, and there's a healing forest in Winnipeg, Kapabamiak Achak Healing Forest at St. John's Park. I think it's been 3 years or 4 years now. We planted 400 medicines there. Those medicines are for community to harvest. We didn't plant them for ourselves. Therefore, like, I know people who, you know, value their medicines, but they don't have a way to go out and pick or find them. So in that park, there's sweetgrass, which we're still encouraging, but there's plenty of sage, there's hyssop, there's Aztec tobacco, and there are seeds to these things up on that medicine table. So, you know, go to the park to pick your medicines if you can't get out of town.
Oh, no questions. Then we get to visit, which is way better than questions. Yeah. Okay. Grab a donut. Claire made some tea. I know that Urban's put out some tea and coffee as well. There's Muskego tea that Asia brought. So please, yeah, and you know, I really had a lovely time at the opening on Friday, standing with people as they were choosing their gift and just like hearing. Oh, it was Thursday. Dude. But yeah, so if you want to talk, do you want to share what gift you chose? I want to hear, so come tell me. And you may witness all of us, we really want to get a group shot in front of Justin's beautiful vinyl, so you may witness us trying to get a little photo as well while you're all here. But thank you so much for coming, everyone. Marcy.
It's just for looks.
No, I just was like, it was kind of like, please save a donut for me.